to know, how much do you guys know about IE from SF MoMA? A moderate amount? Well, I was
Good
going to
to
dig
start
into
from
that.
scratch, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Um, yeah, so IE it was a really unusual game because there was a little bit of immersive theater to it, which is similar to what they did at Argauer Kunstmuseum. But the difference was that they did it on a free Thursday. So first Thursdays, SF MoMA has like free admission and everybody shows up. So we had over 600 people play this game. And I think a lot of it was because like they tested it during, well, a bunch of things happened, right? So number one, they tested it during their free Thursdays. So everybody was already there. Um, some great pictures for it. Number two, they used their gallery, like they used one of their event galleries to actually stage the game, and they used their staff to get everybody on board. And number three, they did advertise it. They told everybody that this was happening. And they wanted numbers, like that was a goal of theirs. And then number four, as of MoMA, they just already have a real culture of play and testing. So it's not uncommon for them to send something to all of their visitors and be like, "Hey guys, we're testing something new, and it's half broken and it's silly. Come play." And like for instance, this is good. This is good and bad, right? So they actually had real issues with connectivity, which we really could have fixed, but they just didn't tell me because they were just like, "Oh, whatever. It's just a test. It's broken." And instead they created a physical paper version to complement the digital version. They just so expected things to be broken at this early stage that they just didn't even mention it. Whereas I think it actually is something that could have been fixed if we had addressed it, and even within those 30 days, we could have fixed it. Yeah, so this guy was a distributed scavenger hunt, which I thought was a really cool way to do it. And when you started the game, the first thing that you do is you put in one of three teams. You're either red, green, or blue. And so under employee ID, you would type in red or green. And that would give you part of the scavenger hunt, but not all of it. So in order to get the rest of it, you have your lanyard right there. You actually have to talk to other people. And I really love these pictures because it just really shows people like interacting and maybe even introducing themselves. And these are candids that they got, but they've got somebody being like, "Oh yes, I'm blue," like in the act of maybe talking to some strangers and saying, "I'm blue. Do you want to know what information I have?" So we initially had imagined that we could do this even for corporate events. SF MoMA gets a lot of corporate groups that will come in. And so this is, or weddings, like this is a nice event if you have, this is a nice game if you have a bunch of people that need to come in and do something. Schools, this is good for school groups. Um, a scavenger hunt is really good for anybody, but this concept of the distributed scavenger hunt was very good for large groups, which SF MoMA had trouble with their big, big groups. And the way that they built it was really straightforward. They gave us a bunch of challenges. We put them on these spreadsheets, kept track of them, and just loaded them into the digital system. So very, very straightforward to build. And
Kilian,
the inter
sorry to
sure,
interrupt.
sure.
Do
No,
you
no.
maybe telling the overall story of IE? So, what's
Oh,
the
sure.
what's the context? Because then, so, that it's the aliens and da. So maybe it's easy.
Oh, that was so fun. Yeah. So IE was Alien Interstellar Expedition expert. No, Alien Interstellar Exploration Expert Edition. So that's a typo there. We just wanted it to spell IE because we thought that was funny. Um, and the story behind it was that you are aliens and you're exploring human culture. And what better way to explore human culture than at an art museum, but you can't get back to your spaceship. Your spaceship is offline, and so you have to call tech support. And alien tech support knows that there's so much good culture at SF MoMA that they just set up tech support in the museum. And so that was sort of the silly premise that we worked with. Like there's me and Fong, and we're sort of at the door, and we really like captured people as they were coming in. They had all these silly things that they put on their heads, and all of these sort of silly signs on the walls that said like "Hail Zorg," and win prizes maybe. And it was this silly thing where we're like, we're trying to be human. Are you human? Would you like to human? And as people would walk by, we would say, "Hello, human. Are you having trouble with transportation?" And I mean, these were young people, and so they'd be like, yes. And so we would just get into the play acting right away. And then you would go into this location here where it was, we just played hold music the whole time. So it was like silly bossa nova hold music. Then we had things projected on the walls, we are sorry for your technical difficulties. Please see a technical assistant when your time has come. And you would go up, and here's Amy Lang, and she, of course, wearing the crazy head things, and would hand over a lanyard, and also the paper version of the game, and then people would scan it, and away they go.
And they had to,
Um,
so that they were supposed to go to the museum to reboot their system, right? Because their system
exactly.
was broken, so they had to go to tech support in at the SF MoMA to get their systems running again by solving some riddle.
Exactly, exactly. We had to gather information in order to reboot our routers. And it was just very silly. The questions were silly. But the questions also were specific, like they asked you to go to very specific locations and look at specific pieces of art. So it was social, it was closer looking, it was, theater of the absurd. And the thing that I really, really liked a lot about this particular game is just the responses from people. I mean, people are in the galleries, they're being social, they're looking at the art, but they're also just like having a really good time. Um, I also thought, just looking through all the images, we got 600 players, and I was there too. San Francisco is a very diverse city, anyways. Um, but the number of sort of like young men of color that played this game was surprising to me. It was just sort of fun and silly enough that we really like that that demographic was not entirely absent. And I didn't even search specifically for pictures of young men of color. I just realized that they were part of almost all of the photos, which I thought was really nice. Like this game sort of found something that was a low barrier to entry, but still sort of fun and whimsical that the people were willing to play. Yeah, so SF MoMA, they really considered this particular project a success. Nobody else has picked up this project yet. We haven't had anybody else build an IE, but it is, I think probably because people look at it and they're like, well, we can't build immersive theater. That's too much. But the structure of the scavenger hunt is really solid, and you could build any sort of scavenger hunt off of this software. So even if you didn't want it to be immersive theater, and you didn't want it to be for very large groups, and you didn't necessarily want it to be for teams, you just want a simple scavenger hunt, you could still use this particular game to do that. It wouldn't be difficult.
And people played it with their own mobile phones, right? The museum didn't,
Right.
they didn't have to have like a number of iPads or so there.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. The museum provided the lanyards, and they also printed out these pieces of paper. But again, the lanyards are not necessary. Like, you could do it because that was fun, but not essential. And the same thing, SF MoMA, they had an event, and they kicked everybody off in this one location, and it was like very theatrical and fun, but not entirely necessary in order to run this game.
What is a
Um,
linear? Sorry.
oh, the lanyards, these are lanyards. So the
Okay.
sort of little name tags that people wore around their
Mhm.
necks. So you could see, what different teams people are coming from.
And could you name an example for something they had to solve? Or
Oh, sure, sure. For instance, gosh, do I have all of the ex pictures here, but I think they're too small. Let's see if I kept it up or if I'll just do it from memory. Just a second. I was just playing with this.
sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I can't get to that screen, so I'll just tell you from memory. One thing that was very popular is I was standing next to sort of a split in between one of the old buildings and the new buildings, and they had a piece of glass that you could see in between the old building and the new building, and they called it seismic shift because San Francisco has a lot of earthquakes. And so they have to have their architecture has to be earthquake safe, which is why the old building and new building couldn't actually abut. They had to be separated, physically separated buildings, but they kept glass in between so you could see. So we asked a question about that because people didn't necessarily know that that was a thing, and it was interesting. So we said, go look at the seismic shift, the gap between the original SF MoMA and the new SF MoMA that had to be separated for earthquake compliance. It was kind of interesting. So people like looked in the window and they saw the two buildings that were next to each other, but on the inside looked like they're connected. Um, yeah, so that was just like a little piece of SF MoMA architecture that we sent people to.
So if you're saying that that was a popular uh, thing that people found, is there a way of choosing the quest or the place that you're looking for? And
Yeah, there is actually.
how do you choose? I thought, it was completely just riddle to riddle.
No, no, this is non-linear. This is a non-linear scavenger hunt. You can kind of see here. You see where it says like floor two, any floor three, and then there's this little bopper down here. Um, and it says routers reset 0 to 8, which means that you could choose any eight of these challenges. And I believe we had 25 challenges. So you could choose just to stay on floor two or floor three. Um, as you went through all the different challenges, some of them you needed help from other people for, but some of them you didn't. So if you really desperately just didn't want to talk to people, then you could just click through and find all of the challenges that you had all the information for. So we didn't force people to be social if they didn't want to. Yeah, so we just said 24 challenges, non-linear, choose any eight, and you will complete this.
And I remember the SF MoMA team also wanting people to explore all kind of rooms, all kind of
Yeah,
galleries, right? Because the museum is so large, and there are some rooms where people never go, so they wanted to decorate
yeah,
them and to explore new places. So yeah, I think that's also
yeah,
interesting if you want people to
yeah.
show other sides of the museum.
But you don't know what you're looking for when you're selecting your quests, right?
You only know the location.
Okay.
Um,
So you do have
yeah.
to know the location or know how to get there.
I mean, or know how to get there. For instance, you'll
Mhm.
see right here, I wish I could make this larger. You see, it says the name of the location and then the name of the challenge, which we were hoping would just intrigue people to click it. So it says like floor two, any floor, floor three. Um, but the challenge names were things like portal location, genuflect, feed hive. So vague,
Okay.
but also related to the challenge.
Yeah. So I understand. So basically also that the fact that one place might be more might have attracted more visitors than others
Mhm.
would be based on good naming maybe of the challenge,
Yeah,
or that, well, one or the other, right? They
right,
know how to get there, or they find the name of the game intriguing.
right. I mean,
Okay.
also, yeah, SF MoMA, it's just so big. And if I remember correctly, floor four is like their best, like what's the word? Blockbusters. That's the word I'm looking for. So, like floor four is where all their super famous stuff is. And so we were like floor two, floor three, floor two, floor three. So we just sort of directed a lot of the challenges away from the most famous pieces that we know they're going to go look for anyways. And it was pretty easy to do, right? I mean, it's just we did the whole thing in uh the spreadsheet. So yeah, really easy to edit.
I just sent a link to, I think you can still play it online. You can on the
You can.
dummy link, right? So if you want to check
Yeah.
it out, I just sent a link.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. So let's see if I can get in there actually. So this is sort of a oh, it's meant for mobile. So it's gonna look really weird on my desktop. But for instance, I'll put in red, um, and submit, continue, all hail Zorg. We just made up these wonderful stories about our great leader Zorg. Continue, I'm ready to reset the routers. Again, this will look better when it's on mobile. It's a little strange. But here you see floor three, floor two. Should we feed the hive? Or would you rather do something else? Anemia. Let's go to anemia. Remember that time? Of course you do. Name an artwork that evokes that time. Enter coordinates. So some of them were really strange. And it's SF moments, and they wanted it to be a little bit strange. And some of them had open answers, they weren't specific. So guys, remember that time? You know, that time. What what artwork reminds you of that time?
The blue one.
The blue one. Oh my God. Yeah, the blue one. I remember that. Oh, wow. That was a great time. I remember that time. Submit. Anemia successful. Oh, that time. Was this not what HR had in mind? But this data is valid. Thank you for uploading to our IE collective memory database. So again, the purpose on that one was we just wanted people to talk to each other. It was a silly joke. And maybe share a memory and maybe look around and see other pieces of art that will encourage them. Identify an environment that represents weather patterns on the planet Zod. Discuss with your fellow research employees to establish consensus. Enter the name of this hypothetical weather phenomenon. Yeah, so again, we wanted you to sort of play with the story, look at the artworks around you, and be like, oh, yes, this painting is just like the weather on Zod. Yeah, so these are the kinds of challenges that we had. I mean, some of them were much more specific than that. Yeah, but a lot of them were just silly, and all of the content was SF Mama. Oh, here we go. This is the one that was so super popular. On floor four, two small square windows look into the seismic gap between the Bada and Snowhetta building by the elevators. The code is just beyond its windows. Enter authorization code in format. Up code. There actually was like if you looked into that window, there was like a little sign on one of the buildings that said up code and had the number. People really enjoyed that. Felt very secret. All right. Any other questions about this adventure? No? Okay, let's talk about another one. We're gonna play the other game. Give me just a second. I'll just see if I can get back to your there we go. Okay. So bum, bum, bum. Let's talk about articulate. Did anybody play articulate? Ooh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. Yeah, Fatya played articulate.
I did as well.
Um, did you? Oh, good. Mike, did you ever play articulate?
Not really. About 10
Okay.
seconds.
For 10 seconds. Okay. All right. You guys are going to play it now. Ready? Celine, have you played this game before? No, she's left us. So, okay, that's
No,
all
I
right.
haven't. I just
Oh,
like,
she has. Okay.
I haven't.
Hi.
But yeah.
Have you played Articulate before?
Are you asking me again?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
No, okay. Okay. This one, it's really cute. We're gonna play with two people. Okay, so we're gonna play with Mike and Celine, and we're gonna give you 1 minute rounds. And I really liked how flexible this was. You can put in any number of players and any number of uh any amount of time. So, Mike, you're starting. All right. You need to describe this artwork, but you cannot use these words.
That sounds familiar.
Okay.
The painting is very dark and it shows a human person that looks old-timey and is wearing a necktie above what a white thing that you would wear underneath a necktie, and then the darkest shade that isn't even a color jacket over it. And I wouldn't describe the person as slender.
All right, we're gonna say that you found it. And now you go to your next one. Oh, next round.
Oh,
Next round. All right, Celine, now you have to describe and go.
Oh, actually, I did play it in St. Gallen.
You did play it in St.
Yes.
Gallen. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah, I was there.
This,
Well,
that
okay, I
is.
tried again, or I give my best.
Okay.
There is it's a portrait with an elderly person with a really elegant how do you say that? Posture, sitting there with like really nice posture in the middle of the body, most of
Oh,
all.
I found it.
Ah,
Good
great.
job. Yay, I found it.
Yes.
I was walking
Woo.
around and there it is. So, and yeah, so so we did a quick round with just two people. And you guys each got 1 point. So together you got 10. And so you can play it again or you can end it. Um, Another thing that I think is really cute about this game is I would love to play this game in German or French or Chinese, right? This is such a nice game to practice language and describing items. Um,
And
and
as
they
well as, if I can interrupt you, I'm sorry, like to get
please,
into personal conversations as well, I think. I thought in St. Gallen that worked pretty good because I was in a group with 3 people. We didn't know
mm,
each other at all, and we started to
yeah,
get into a really fun conversation
I love that.
all together, and like to art to contextualize all these pictures we've seen as well in a like art education uh, way of looking at them. That was really
I
fun.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think I would say out of all 20 games, this game is my sleeper, right?
Mhm.
Do you say that? Like my
Mhm.
it's sort of the hidden gem. Not everybody got to play it because it was out in St. Gallen.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's sort of a quiet game, but I think it's very easy to use, especially good for teenagers and
Mhm.
groups of teenagers. You only need one device for up to 5 players. And it's very focused on discussing and looking at the art. And so this is a good example of it's a digital game, but only one person has the digital device. Everybody else is spending all their time very actively looking at the art. trying to find the thing that the one person with a digital device is describing. Even the person who has the digital device is spending all their time trying to describe the art. So out of so many games, this really digs into discussing and describing what you see. Yeah, like very low barrier to entry for this one.
And which is, by the way, also part of the, how do you call that? The Lehrplan curriculum of Swiss schools.
Curriculum.
It's actually,
That's correct.
it's curriculum, right? Yep.
Yeah.
So it's written in there that like learning how to look at pictures and paintings. So that's
Amazing.
always handy for teachers to, you know, fit it in
Yeah.
their schedule.
Yeah, definitely. And also another nice part about this, well, it's the good and the bad, right? So the good part is this is really good for your permanent collection. Because you need to load it, you need to load the images into one gallery because you don't want to be like, go and find this piece of art somewhere in the museum, right? Nobody will ever find it. It's too big. You have to localize it to one gallery. So you probably want to load in images that are in a permanent collection. If you could do it for an exhibit, but it will rotate pretty fast, right? Like this is a good piece for that one room that nobody ever goes into, with all, consistent pieces. Yeah, and the same, you load in content in exactly the same way as you do for AMI or for IE, which is just like spreadsheet, simple, give us 20 pieces of art that you want to use and the words that you think best describe them, and away you go. And right now we're translating this into Italian because there are so few instructions. It's just really easy to do this in any language. So we didn't even have to charge to translate it because it's got 100 words to translate it. Barely worth worrying about. There we go. So those are our two games for today.